It was supposed to be a game changer. Trump's trade war promised to bring back American jobs and punish China for unfair trade practices. But did it? Or did it just make everything more expensive and force companies to rethink their entire supply chains? The real impact of this trade war is deeper than you think. Stay with me, because what we uncover today might just change how you see the economy. Let's go back to 2018. Donald Trump, standing at a podium, promising to fight back against China's economic aggression. He called China a cheater, accused them of stealing American jobs, and vowed to make America great again. His solution? Tariffs. Billions of dollars in tariffs, aimed at punishing China and bringing manufacturing back to the US. It sounded simple. Put tariffs on Chinese goods, make them more expensive, and force companies to produce in America instead. But economics isn't that simple, and the consequences far bigger than anyone expected. Here's the truth. Some jobs did return. American steel and aluminum industries, they saw a short-term boost. Factories reopened, workers were rehired. But across other industries, something else happened. Instead of moving back to the US, companies moved out of China and into Vietnam, Mexico, and India. Apple shifted iPhone production to India. Nike, more manufacturing in Vietnam. Even American companies avoided America. Why? Because labor costs in the US were still too high, and the tariffs didn't change that. This is where things really hit home. Tariffs aren't just a tax on China, they're a tax on American consumers. A study from the Federal Reserve found that 100% of the cost of Trump's tariffs was passed down to American businesses and consumers. That means you paid for it. Think about it. Electronics, prices skyrocketed. Automobiles, more expensive. Everyday goods, even household appliances, cost more. By 2019, the trade war had cost the average American household about $1,300 extra per year. And then COVID hit. Trump's tariffs already disrupted supply chains. Then COVID broke them completely. Factories in China shut down. Shipping containers piled up. Suddenly, everything was delayed. Remember the chip shortage? The one that made cars ridiculously expensive? That wasn't just COVID. The trade war amplified the problem. Companies couldn't pivot fast enough, and American consumers paid the price. But it wasn't just cars and electronics. Farmers got caught in the crossfire. China retaliated with tariffs of their own. Soybean exports collapsed. American farmers lost billions. And in response, the US government had to bail them out with taxpayer money. It didn't stop there. Industries that relied on global supply chains faced massive disruptions. Small businesses struggled to keep up with rising costs. Retailers had to pass the higher prices on to customers. And Wall Street, markets panicked. Every time Trump tweeted about tariffs, the stock market reacted, sometimes up, sometimes down. Investors lived in uncertainty, not knowing what would happen next. Here's where things get really interesting. The trade war forced companies to rethink their entire business models. Instead of relying on China, businesses started diversifying their supply chains. Vietnam became one of the biggest winners. Mexico, more investment than ever before. Even Europe got a bigger piece of the pie. The result? China's share of global exports started to decline. And now, America isn't as dependent on China as it was before 2018. Which raises the question, did Trump's trade war actually work? It depends on how you define winning. Did jobs come back? Not as much as promised. Did China suffer? Somewhat. Their economy took a hit, but they adapted. Did American consumers suffer? Absolutely. Higher prices, supply chain chaos, economic uncertainty. But here's something most people don't talk about. China didn't just sit back and take the hit. They changed their strategy and doubled down on self-reliance. China ramped up investments in high-tech industries. They poured billions into semiconductors, AI, and renewable energy. By 2023, China was making more advanced chips than ever before, and America, still struggling to catch up. This wasn't just a trade war, it was an economic arms race. And now, the Biden administration is keeping many of Trump's tariffs in place, which means the trade war isn't over. So what happens next? The world is shifting. China is doubling down on self-reliance. The US is investing in Made in America industries, and global trade is being rewritten as we speak. But one thing's for sure, this trade war changed everything. It reshaped industries. It forced companies to adapt. It made goods more expensive. And it proved that in a global economy, no country fights alone. And let's not forget, the ripple effects go beyond just America and China. Europe had to navigate between two giants. Emerging markets struggled with shifting supply chains, and the global economy became more fragmented than ever before. This isn't just about tariffs, it's about the future of global trade. Will we see more protectionism? Will countries build their own supply chains? Or will globalization find a way to survive? The answers are still unfolding. So what do you think? Did Trump's trade war help America or hurt it? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's discuss. And before you go, hit that like button, subscribe, and stay tuned for more deep dives into the world's biggest economic shifts. See you next time.